We've shown you the latest poll numbers about the Michigan elections this morning. Now, Jorma Duran and Capitol Correspondent Tim Skubick are here for you to break down those numbers with a closer look.
Tim, we've gone over the latest poll numbers. They suggest Gretchen Whitmer not only has an 11-point lead over Tudor Dixon, but that she hit that magical 50% number. What do you make of those numbers?
Well, the fact that she has a lead over the challenger probably is not a huge surprise to anybody in this town. First of all, let's point out that Tudor Dixon basically at 39% is doing a good job of holding on to her Republican base, which of course she needed to win the primary election. But the last time I checked, governors are not elected at a primary election. They have to win at the general election. And since August the 2nd, it appears that Tudor Dixon has done very little to move the numbers off of her base of 39% to a higher number that would get her closer to the governor, who's at 50%.
Let's talk about the other races. 3/4 of the voters don't even know who Matt DePerno and Christina Caramo are, and yet they're not really too far behind against the incumbents. How do you explain that?
Well, it's a very simple explanation. What you're basically seeing there is that people don't know who they are, but they see the R after their name, and so they're voting the party, Republican. They could put Mickey Mouse in running for one of these offices, and if he had an R after his name, he'd get 39% of the vote, too. I'm not saying anything disparaging about the candidates. This is just a fact of life.
The difference, according to this poll, between people who call themselves pro-choice versus pro-life in Michigan is about 25%. But the difference between people who support the reproductive rights initiative that'll likely be on the November ballot is more than 40%. So how do you explain that? How is that possible?
Well, Michigan has predictably been a pro-choice state for a long period of time, for well over a decade. And of course, with the advent of the U.S. Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade, those numbers even solidified even more. And given a chance to vote on this ballot proposal, you've got well over 60% of the people saying they're going to vote yes. So it is a determining factor in this race. The Democrats have their fingers crossed that with this issue on the ballot, there will be more motivation for Democrats to vote than Republicans. That, you would expect the Democrats to say that. The Republicans are a little more sanguine about it. They said, look, our pro-life voters are going to be out there too because they're strong and they're passionate, and so it could be a wash. But the popular wisdom is that the voter turnout is going to be a little stronger because abortion is on the ballot, and that could then relate into other races. So you could see a trickle-down effect to the control of the Michigan House and Senate could also be in play here as a result of this one issue.